Okay, so we have finished the play, and now it's time to just kind of fill in some charts that we have started here. We'll start with the fatal flaws chart. There was an act of disobedience in Act 5, Scene 1, in that the apothecary ends up selling the poison to Romeo. He was not supposed to do that. That was actually against the law, and he could have been put to death for that. So that would be considered disobedience. For impatience, we have Romeo's hurry to return. In Act 5, Scene 1, remember Balthazar comes and he gives the message to Romeo that he saw Juliet being placed in a grave. And Romeo's like, I'm going to go back right now. And even Balthazar warned him. He's like, dude, just be patient. But Romeo is not patient. He does not wait for information. Instead, he charges in, and we all know how that ends up. For chance and fate, a couple of them, I don't have enough boxes for them, but let's start with this first one. Again, in Act 5, Scene 1, Balthazar just happened to walk by and see Juliet's funeral. He wouldn't have been invited to that, not as a servant of the Montagues. So it's just by chance Balthazar was walking by and saw Juliet being placed into a grave. So that was just kind of by chance. Another kind of by chance moment, sorry that these are kind of mixed here, but the friar just not Friar Lawrence, but Friar John just happened to get quarantined before he could deliver the letters to Romeo. So that was another kind of big chance moment where it's like, oh, he just happens, like, of all the things to happen, that's what happened with that very important letter. And then in Act 5, Scene 3, the friar even identifies Friar Lawrence when he's talking to Juliet. He says, a greater power than we can contradict is at work here. That greater power would then be fate. So that's Act 5, Scene 3. Some more here. Let's just go to the secrecy. The secret plot with the potion. The nurse isn't even made aware of that secret plot with the potion. And by potion, I'm talking about the one that Juliet takes to fake her own death. That was a secret only between the friar and Juliet. It was supposed to have Romeo included in on it, but we know that that didn't work out for them. Okay. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm sure there are plenty of other examples of this stuff going on in the play, but I'm just going to give you some to start with and to work with. For the irony and foreshadowing chart, we have a few to add. Let's start with irony. In Act 4, Scene 2, remember that Capulet says, wow, we are so indebted to the friar because my wayward daughter is so reclaimed. Remember, Juliet comes back from the friar and tells Capulet, yes, I'll marry Paris. I'm so sorry. I've received forgiveness from the friar, and now I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. But we know, this is dramatic irony, because we know that Juliet was not a reclaimed girl. She she was actually already in her mind on a different plan to disobey her parents. So there's irony there. In Act 5, Scenes 1 and 2, remember Romeo asks Balthazar, don't you have any letters for me from the friar? And Balthazar says no. And he goes, oh, no matter. Sorry for the three T's. It does matter. So the fact that he says, oh, it's no matter, that's irony because no, you don't understand, Romeo. Those letters were of ultimate importance and they could have saved your life. Okay? We find that out also in Scene 2 of Act 5. And then some more irony. When Romeo is looking upon Juliet's body in the tomb, he says, death has had no power on thy beauty. And again, he says that and he's just commenting on her beauty. But we know as an audience, yeah, no, death hasn't had any effect on her because she's not dead. And so that was Act 5, Scene 3. For foreshadowing, we've got plenty of examples. I'm just going to give you two. One from Act 4, when Juliet is talking to the friar about the many, many different things that she would rather do other than marry Paris. One of the things she says is, put me in a new-made grave. And she is placed in a new-made grave later on. It was a new-made grave because Tybalt was just recently buried there as well. And then in Act 5, Scene 1, remember Romeo says, I dreamt my lady came and found me dead. And then, of course, that was a happy dream because she revived him and whatever. But remember, my lady came and found me dead Juliet awakens and finds Romeo dead. So that was foreshadowing what would happen later, and that was Act 5, Scene 1. And there we are. Hopefully these charts will come in handy when we go to write our essay.